Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our club's homepage. There you'll find information on the exact frequencies we transmit and receive on. Also, you'll find a link to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 for this net. And note, a special tone of 103.5 for this net. 103.5 for this net. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before the net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Hearing none, again, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Signed into the net already by video link is Ron, KD7QKU, Jessica, KF7UHK, Bert, N7CS, Bob, K9PQ, Jim, N7QO, James, WU7N, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is anybody else wanting to check into the net? Hearing none, we'll go up to the top of the list with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, thank you, Dave. This is Ron, KD7QKU. Gee, many Christmas, I've just about told everything I know before we were chatting here. Let's see, I did run out and suggested Joanne that maybe she could text Debbie and we could maybe get a message back, but Joanne informed me she was going to the store, so it'll happen when she gets back from the store. Joanne cooked a pork butt yesterday, and we had pulled pork sandwiches for dinner. Oh man, with baby Ray's barbecue sauce on it. Absolutely scrumptious. And then Mike, my son out on the Cape Peninsula, he had texted and invited us out. He said his wife had cooked a pork butt and they were going to have barbecue sandwiches. So I think pork was on sale. I know that's why we bought it. They probably did the same thing. But that's fine. I can go out and eat pork sandwiches again. They're good. Trouble is, I'll probably have them at home for the next week. The pork butt, as you know, is a pretty big piece of meat. But lots of meat in it. So let's see, anything else going on? I watched some interesting fishing videos on YouTube. I come across a couple. So the area down here for salmon fishing is Area 11, and around Tacoma. And so then down here at Point Defiance is a boat ramp. And lo and behold, 3 people went fishing from that boat ramp in Area 11, and they had their video, about a 30-minute video on it. So that was entertaining. I've never gone fishing out here, so I don't know anything about it, but I still don't know much about it. I mean, they said where they were fishing, but it doesn't. They said they were at the clay banks, 1 or 2 of them, but I don't know where the clay banks is. So I'm going to have to get a map out and see if I can figure that out. There's a guy over behind me, Scott. He fishes, and I'll have to talk to him. I was hoping that he might take me or invite me, but he has a guy he fishes with, so he's never invited me. Although he's friendly. He came back this morning. He was out fishing this morning. But I'll have to ask Scott where the clay man. That's probably where he fishes. Okay, I guess enough of that. Nice to see Jessica. Seemed like there was something else I was going to tell you from our discussion, but I don't know what it is now. Maybe I'll think of it. All right, back to that KD7QKU.
QKU. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Jessica up here in Mount Vernon. I don't know if Bert's seen this, but we put a mast up here in Mount Vernon. Normally, you hear me from Everett, so I'm hitting 62 air miles to get to the Cougar Mountain terminal there, and it's a little staticky tonight, but I hear you. And sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Today's on the edge. So we mowed the front lawn today up here in Mount Vernon. We have a new heat pump going to be installed in our place. So we were kind of cleaning house, and I've been filling up the truck with things I want to take to the dump or to Goodwill or to somebody to get rid of. I've got a whole thing of underground like cable if you're going to wire up a cabin or something like that with underground power line. I have a great big spool of that. I'm probably going to give to Habitat for Humanity, at least offer it to them, give it to them. Hopefully someone will take it, because I don't really want to throw it out, because it's too nice of cable. Otherwise, it's very long all spooled up. So that's what's happening up here. We had some hot dogs on the back porch on our little charcoal grill, and they were tasty but burnt. But you know, that's good for you sometimes. This is KF7 UHK.
UHK, thanks for that. Let's go to Bert, N7CS in Marysville.
Good evening, everyone. Jessica, I tried to listen to you on the reverse. I did not hear a thing. So maybe you're transmitting to the other repeater, or either I just can't pick you up from there for whatever reason. Let's see, what else is going on for me? So one thing I started doing over the past couple of days is I recently rented a storage locker, and I've been kind of moving some of my junk at the house into that locker, so that's taken quite a bit of time to do. You may notice my desk back here. You can actually see the top of the desk now. There's still a bunch of junk on it, of course, but there's less junk on it than before, so I've made maybe, I don't know, 6 or so carloads to bring stuff over to the locker so far, and I still have a lot more to go to just try to get all the junk out of the house. But yeah, it's a work in progress. That's probably it for now. So this is Bert in Marysville in 7CS. Back to that.
CS, attaboy type thing for that, getting rid of stuff outside of your house. Let's go to Bob, T9PQ.
Hey, well, good evening, everybody, and let's see, I have news on Zoom, and it's not good for us to be, for what we were looking for. I thought it would be an obvious thing to allow, to designate certain people to start meetings for you, but I think that they don't do that for a good reason. Otherwise, you would have people doing the same thing they do for Netflix and Amazon and other accounts where they share the accounts, and you'd have one person paying for an account and 100 people all being the quote designated people that can open meetings. So I think that's the reason they don't do it. So you can designate someone to start a meeting, but they also have to be somebody that's a paying member. So we can't, the long story short, we can't get a club account, or we can't have an account just with one paid person unless that person opens the meetings. The still picture that you're seeing is a little different than usual. It is from my flight home from Cincinnati, the last trip I took, and I'll I'll put it up here briefly so you can see it live. And it's the wing with the distinctive double winglet. Well, I think it's distinctive. That's the only one I know that has them, the 737 MAX. And it has a nice cloud pattern there. If you look at the bottom of the picture, I thought that was pretty cool how the clouds kind of made a wispy thing there. Some interesting wind pattern going on with that. So I'll go back to me. What else? Yeah, pulled pork. Man, I haven't had that in a while, and I've never made my own. So I think that might have to change. I think I need to make some. Great to see Jessica. You came in really well. We heard you just fine. So well done getting in. And Bert, yeah, good to see your desk. Although I'm a messy desk guy, you just can't see it. But I have no problem with the messy desk. And it's pretty funny because it's the opposite for me in my car and when I was at work. At work, I always had a very clear desk, and my car I always keep very clear. Well, not so much lately. I've been slacking a bit, but it's been my habit over the years. But otherwise, around home, and I tend to be a bit messy, and so I'm not sure why that is, but just the way it goes. So okay, I'll send it back. K9PQ.
Thank you, K9PQ. And get an ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'll pause momentarily. If somebody would like to check into the net, we always wish well for somebody who would like to check in and join us with our conversations for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. So feel free to check in. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll pause momentarily for that. And again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you, at least those of you whom I can see. Yeah, Jitsy's not doing real well from my perspective. Right now I have no video from Dave or Jessica or Bellevue Jim. I don't want to get another computer just for that. I've had minimal problems with Zoom. Had problems over the years with Skype, but I think they're better now than they used to be. Oh well. So Ron, pulled pork. Yeah, pulled pork sandwiches. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of a simple guy. There are like 5 different dishes, and I could eat them 24 hours a day, any one of those things, until I die. And that's on the list, by the way, pulled pork sandwiches. Jessica, hot dogs, yeah. If they're burned a little bit, you just need to add some more secret sauce, and that solves all the problems. I'm glad that Costco hasn't changed the price of their hot dogs. I miss the sausage sandwich, but the hot dogs are still $1.50 at Costco. Bert, I thought I'd throw that out specifically for your benefit, since you may not have been to Costco lately. And Bert, decluttering, man, good luck. It's a never-ending thing. And getting messy. Oh, okay. Yeah, pizza too. Yeah. Getting messy. I think that's kind of normal as we get older, gentlemen. Bob, I don't know why, but I seem to have more clutter now. It seems like I've been disposing of stuff, but it just seems low-cal and healthy. Well, I don't know about that, Jim, but but whether it's low cost and healthy is one issue. The bottom line is it's yummy. That's the overriding criteria, I think. But that may be just me. Let's see. Yeah, we were discussing to designate someone to start a meeting. I don't know. My wife, our church group is involved with several things, and yeah, it seems like there's one individual that always has to show up and start a meeting, but they have the means somehow to change whoever's hosting the meeting. I don't know exactly what sort of service to which the church subscribes, but usually one individual will have to show up and start the meeting, and then they can hand off who's the moderator to someone else. At least that's what our church group has done. Hope I don't get the church group in trouble for that, but that's what they've been doing. And yeah, I recognize that. Oh, well, that's me on the 1.2 gigahertz now. I recognize that 737 wingtip immediately. That I did not necessarily associate it with the Max, but certainly a 737. They call it I'm not sure how you pronounce it, a scimitar, whatever wingtip. That's what they call that. I'm not sure how effective it is, but it looks different anyway. I've seen similar wingtips on a couple of other different airplanes as well, but not airliners. So anyway, I recognize that immediately as belonging to a 737. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO. Let's go to James, Northeast Bellevue, WW7ATS.
This is WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Good evening, everyone. Sorry I missed the meeting this morning. Had something come up at the last minute, and I was a little late coming in here, but I'm here now. Well, pulled pork. You just can't go wrong with pulled pork. It's great stuff. And Ron, you know, I years ago applied for a job up in the very northwestern part of the state, and was talking to the Fish and Wildlife people. And GPS has forever changed fishing regulations. You probably remember this in your lifetime. It used to be like, well, don't, fish for whatever, the Ron fish, north of this point or whatever. But now, the biologists know exactly where the little nests are. With GPS, everybody knows within two yards of where they're at. So you end up with this weird patchwork of what you can and can't do all over Puget Sound, wrapping all the way around the coast. And so, this was the regulator was lamenting that he needed somebody in the boat just to try and keep track of where they were exactly, so that they would know, like, is that guy supposed to be fishing over there or not? And then when you go up, they said, you always just tell them, like, hey, you should be a half mile over there instead of here. And there's actually usually something to it. It's just not people being annoying. Bob, I was going to say that's a truly great picture. It's what I suspected. It's a 737, very rare, because you'll notice nothing has fallen off that wing yet. So you got it before, it completely deteriorated. It's hard to do. It's important to get them like that. Jessica, 62 miles. I won't annoy you by asking you, is that statute or nautical miles, because you probably don't know. But anyway, it's a long stretch and good signal. Your audio is just booming in here. Full quieting. You've got a good antenna up. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because that's quite a stretch. what kind of cable you have. I don't know how heavy it is, and I don't know how I would ever get it, but I'm interested because I've got to run Romex from my power panel to the farthest corner of my house and get electricity down 3 stories for a sump pump and some lights. And man, that stuff is pricey. So anyway, maybe we can talk tomorrow or sometime and see exactly what you've got, because I'm running it inside of the house. So I don't know. You said it was a cable. Is this like the, maybe it's to power an entire house? I mean, I don't need 3 conductors, the 1 inch in diameter. I mean, I don't need that. But something tells me the 24 gauge isn't going to cut it either. So anyway, that was a joke. No, you don't. I wouldn't do that. Let's see. Oh, Bert, the storage locker. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, let me tell you how storage lockers work. See, my dad fell down, had to move him into assisted care, so we packed in, and thank goodness, my brother-in-law carefully wrote down everything we packed in there. And whenever my dad wanted something, the one thing you were guaranteed of, it would be in the farthest reaches in the back corner of the storage locker. It guaranteed every time. We're convinced there was some kind of little, like treadmill or moving floor that would just keep rotating things around to the back without our knowledge, because whenever we would look for something, it was always in the back. I've got 3 huge areas to go through myself: a living room filled with stuff, a upstairs bedroom, and my garage. But I think 2/3 of that probably needs to go to Salvation Army or Goodwill, or maybe Habitat for Humanity. Example, I just took hold of 6 gallons of a clear stain, and someone just gave it to me. It barely fit in the back trunk of my Honda Civic, and I just need a little bit to do my rails, my 2 rails on my brand new deck. But I called the tech support for the company that makes it today, and he suspiciously, the sticker on the top that tells you the magic code that says when it was manufactured, it has been scraped off, partially scraped off, and he was telling me the shelf life of this particular stain is 3 years. From the highly reliable source of falling off the back of a truck. Then my friend said he went out there, went out one morning in the middle of the street. There was this big 6-gallon can of this stain, and then there was a bunch of tools and other stuff. So he called the police, and they tried to figure out, maybe who belonged to all this stuff. And he still has all the tools, the shovel, and all the tools and everything. But the stain, he says he's had it for at least 2 years at least, and hasn't done anything with it. So you need some stain. I was thinking I was going to go down there and get like a little pint can of stain from him, but no, it's a 6-gallon can. The good news is you can take it for Habitat Humanity, and they'll pass it off to the recycle people, or you can take it down to the factory transfer station. So that's good news there. Well, Jim, I'm amazed that your computer works at all with video, actually. I think, whenever a company sells off computers like that for really good deals to their employees, it probably is suitable for email and maybe some light web browsing, as long as there's not too much movement on the web page. Because I'm amazed that it does work at all. Because I have found, now that I know more about video, much more than I did a few years ago, it's amazing just how much power it takes. I mean, the computer I'm on right now physically gets warm. It's just slamming those little coprocessors as hard as it can to keep up with everything. I can just hear them huffing and puffing in there. Yeah, Bert, thank you for the picture of the Costco feast. I had an uncle who decided he was going to lose weight, so he bought a Costco salad and then proceeded to drown it. He must have asked for extra salad dressing. He drowned the entire salad in salad dressing and ate the whole thing. I get 3 meals out of one of those things. But yeah, he drowned it. Every morsel of the salad was soaked in salad dressing. I got, maybe not going to lose weight really fast if that's the daily feast. But I'm not sure how that ever came out. That's all the hot news from Northeast Bellevue, WW7ATS here. Let's turn it back to our net control in Seattle. Dave, KD7ZYM. Go ahead, Dave.
WW7N, thanks for that. and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM for an ID. Well, here in Lake City, I've got 77 degrees, and it's cloudy outside. Most of the day was domestic chores, and then I sat down and watched the Olympics, and then came to the conclusion, boy, am I out of shape in life. Watching all these athletes with all of their physical things that they can do that I can't, I'm really amazed. But maybe one time in my life when I was young, I might have been able to at least do a walkathon or something. But outside of that, it certainly is depressing when you come to the conclusion you cannot do all the things that those youngsters can do physically. And talking about pulled pork, in my refrigerator I got Costco's pulled pork, smoked pulled pork, and I'm going to take it out tomorrow and put it in the microwave for about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes, a package, then add some barbecue sauce and some sriracha to it, and then you pull it apart, and oh man, it's always been good in the past, so I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. I like to have it on rice rather than a sandwich, so anyway, everybody has a different way of preparing pulled pork for feasting on it, but that's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City, so I'm going to turn it back to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU here. Well, Dave, there was a lot of white noise on your signal. I don't know if anybody else heard it. I wonder if you could kick your power up. Bob didn't hear it, okay. And so I noticed this morning, I talked up north. I don't talk up north, I guess, very often, but I listen. And their signal this morning coming down from the Lyman Hill repeater, it's about 90 miles, I think, to my house, or 80 miles. It was a lot of static and stuff on it. It was good conditions. Usually I get it loud and clear, but I didn't get it loud and clear, so maybe the band conditions aren't so good. I know they talked about some more solar, or the, what do you call it, northern lights, anyway, so maybe that's messed up. And Jessica, you were talking about a heat pump. I think that's what you said, you were going to get a heat pump. Is that what you said, Jessica? You're going to get a heat pump? Yeah, she's nodding up down. So I got one of those, but it's called Mini Split. And so it has more than one head, and you put the head things in the different rooms. So I got two. So they figured the square footage of our house and then decided how big a units we needed. And I got the one called Hyper Hot because I wanted to use it to heat the house in the wintertime. And as the temperature outside gets cold, the Mini Split or the heat pump efficiency goes down. So if you get one, I got mine, it's called Hyper Hot, and so it puts out warm air when it's 20 below outside. So anyway, so that's what we got, and I love it. I have it like on 70 or 72. It's in the living room and the bedroom, and it just keeps our house comfortable. Here it is, 80, 90 degree weather. It's just wonderful. I run it day and night. I put it on 72 at night, maybe 70 in the daytime, and yeah, I love them. So anyway, and I had a note down here about James, but I sent him a text, I guess, just as he was coming. He said he's coming. He was going to join us. And Bob, if you're going to, that pork, but Joanne cooks it in a crock pot, but you need a pretty big crock pot, and then it's just, puts lots of seasoning. I don't know. For some reason, I don't think you like onions, or they're not good for you. So the recipe that she has, she sets it on a bed of onions and then rubs spices all over. But anyway, it comes out really, really good. But you could go easy on whatever is hard on your system. I guess that's what we have to do sometimes. She laid off on the red pepper flakes, I guess she said, for me. So, darn, I didn't make many more notes. Yeah, what I did, Bert, I bought a storage shed, a prefabricated storage shed, and they just moved it in and set it up on the back of my lot. I don't know how much you pay a month for your rental place, but I don't know if you can have a storage shed in your neighborhood. But I had one. It's about 8 by 10, I suppose, or maybe 12. I don't remember now. But they hauled it in on like a flatbed trailer. It was really neat, and they could slide it back. So they came in, put down the pads to set it on concrete pads. Then they slid it back, and then it touched on the ground, and then they drove up underneath it, and there it was. So anyway, mine was about $4,000 delivered. So you know, if you were paying a big monthly fee, it'd be nice to have a storage shed. I think that way you can run out in the backyard and retrieve your stuff too. Oh, I do that all the time. All right, back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK up here in Mount Vernon. Heat pump, yeah, we got 3 bids, like you should do on big projects like this. And the thing was, the heat pump we had in here was here originally when we bought this house, but it was never actually plumbed in because it was going to be a business, and they had to quickly change it over to a residence to sell it as a residence when we bought it. So we bought this thing, thought we had a heat pump, went out there and said, we got a heat pump, and then we found it had no hoses actually hooked up to the inside unit. So we had, 7 years ago, we had that all tinkered in and working by somebody, but we think it wasn't really compatible with each other and finally died on us. So we have a new one going in. We can't wait. Did a lot of negotiating to get what we wanted and the price we wanted, but still not a cheap thing. This is like buying a small Kia or maybe a Hyundai. So think about that. And so yeah, it wasn't cheap. I think my reception's got a little bit better as the sun's going down. I don't know if that actually does anything, but it seems like it's gotten better. Statuette or nautical miles. I think it's, I used Google Earth to do my measurement, so I think it's probably statuette miles is what I'm probably measuring with Google Earth. And Costco hot dogs. Yeah, I saw your post, Bert, about your whole hot dog meal. It's like, oh yeah, that looked really great for the price. That makes me want to go to Costco. And I don't have a Costco card, so I don't know if I can get in to get their meal or not. I may have to be a Costco user. So that's it. And my wire, I'll have to maybe get a good picture of it and send it to you, James, because I don't really know a whole lot about it. It's big, it's black, it's really heavy. And like I say, we have a big spool of it. Quite willing to pawn it off, give it to anybody who will take it. Up here in Mount Vernon, this is KF7, UHK.
UHK, thanks for that. Let's go to Bert, N7CS.
Hello again, everybody. Ron, you were talking about like a storage shed out in the yard. I mean, I probably could do something like that. I think I've seen some houses here in our neighborhood that do that. But I kind of worry about the security of a shed out in the backyard compared to something like a storage locker at a professional place, because I have to get into that storage place. I have to enter a code to get through the gate. I have to enter another code to get into the building. I have to enter another code to get into the elevator. So it's like 3 levels of access just to even get to the locker, and then of course a key to get into the locker. So I feel my materials inside there are pretty well protected. The particular place I'm at has been around for 7 years. I asked them if they ever had any break-ins, and they said, yeah, they've had 2 break-ins before over those 7 years, but both of them were, I guess they called them inside jobs. Not an employee doing it, but one of the, I guess, people that lived with the people storing stuff and knew the code and had access to the keys and stuff. So they said that was the only 2 break-ins that they're aware of in their 7-year history. So I feel pretty safe with all my stuff there. And there was another comment on, the Costco stuff. Yeah, so that picture I showed earlier, it was a hot dog, a soda, a cup of ice cream, and a slice of pizza. All that was $5.99 total. Asking, I'm not sure if you actually need to be a member to go get it. I think you do, but I have heard stories where you can just say, hey, I'm going to get lunch, and they'll let you right in. I have never tried that. I always flash my card, but the card will expire at one point, and they never look at it closely enough to see if it's expired. So maybe you can just ask somebody to, I won't say anything, but over the air there. But yeah, you should probably just buy a membership. It's not bad. It's pretty cheap. Okay, well that's it for now. This is Bert in Marysville, and 7CS back to that.
N7CS, let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Okay, well, I can actually speak a little bit to the Costco because I've got a brother that's in management in Costco, and they've begun cracking down on that. And there was something very specific about the eating places, because some of them are outdoors. So Costco I go to, it's inside, but some of them are outside. And but you have to use your card to get it. And then the other thing, then this is not happening everywhere yet, but another way they're cracking down is that they have a pilot program where in some places you actually scan your card and your face pops up on a screen, so they see if it's really you using your own card or if you're borrowing your friend's card. So they're cracking down a little bit more than they used to. Thanks for the pulled pork thoughts, Ron. I do have a big crock pot, and yeah, I can't use onions. Unfortunately, they don't agree with me, but I will figure something out. I'll look for some recipes. Let's see what else. Yeah, as far as out of shape, Dave, my brother Don, we were just texting. He's been out of touch for a little while because he's been up in northern BC fishing, and he to get to this lake where he was fishing, he had to portage his canoe. I don't remember how far it was, but he had to carry it overhead from the parking lot to the lake, some miles, then go back and get all his camping gear and bring that all out. And he's 2 years older than me. He's 67, 68, 69, somewhere in there. And depending on whether he's had his birthday or not. Anyway, he's out. He goes out walking all the time. Something I should do but don't. But he does all the time and is in pretty good shape, pretty darn good shape for his age. I told him there's no way I could even think about doing something like that, carrying a canoe over my head for miles just to get to a lake. But he said it was one of those lakes where you just can catch fish all day long. You just, as soon as the hook goes in the water, you've got a fish. It comes out, and he does catch and release, and so he has a good time. Let me break. Right now, I took a lot of notes. Scimitar wing, that's interesting. By the way, it's pronounced scimitar. I know that because of my geeky role-playing games that I do. Scimitars are one of the weapons that you use or can use, the storage locker rule. I remember that from when I had a storage locker. Yeah, whatever you need, it's in the back and behind heavy things that you have to move out of the way. And there's a similar rule. So I'm glad we get to see your desk as it is right now, because there is the horizontal surface attraction rule. any vacant horizontal surface has an irresistible force to attract objects onto that surface. So good luck, Bert, trying to deal with that. And the salad with dressing, I am a drown the salad person, and yes, I know the calories are, there are a lot of calories, but you know, at least eating the veggies is a good thing too. I may not be losing weight, but I'm eating better. Okay, I think that's a good for now. One more thing. I'll make break again. Long one here, but I did want to mention this about starting versus hosting. Jim, what you described is exactly what Zoom does allow, and you're not getting anyone in trouble. That is an allowed thing. So as long as one person, the person with the account, is starting the meeting, they can then delegate anybody they want to have, you know, powers of admin to add and subtract other people. But that way they guarantee that the person paying for the service is the one using the service, so that they have to start the meeting. And that's what we can't do, is have somebody else be able to start the meeting. So there you go. All right, back to net, K9PQ.
K9PQ, let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, my company originally used these computers as an electronic flight bag. We used to have charts, and I mean like pages and pages, different instrument approach procedures at different airports all over the place, and we would routinely receive paper updates, and we'd have to go through and update our books, and there was quite a cost involved with that, not to mention the fact that I'm sure destroyed lots of trees doing so as well. So they decided that they could put it all on these Surface computers, and then we could just do an update from time to time as necessary, and display the charts on the computer. And it kind of sort of wasn't even adequate for that. That's why they got rid of that. That's why we went from a Surface 2 to a Surface 3, and then finally they threw those away. Or actually, they didn't throw them away. They sold it to the employees, whoever was foolish enough to buy one. And they finally went to iPads, which were really good. But they made me return my iPad when I retired. Darn it. Oh well. So that was the original intent of these things. Let's see, Ron and who else? Jessica. Seems like someone else was talking about heat pumps. Yeah, I had when I was living in Texas, I got a house which had a first-generation heat pump, and I'll tell you what, during the summer, that worked superbly. It would pump out 55-degree air, and it definitely kept the house cool. But in the winter, the way someone explained it to me is that it's not like it's heating the inside, it's more like it's trying to cool the outside, and it just wasn't hacking it during the winter months for heating purposes. But what they did have, in addition, they had electric heat strips stuck in the ductwork, and you throw the 220 onto those heat strips, they'd glow red, the air would blow by those, and I'll tell you what, that is how I heated my house during the winter. And the air coming out of those ducts during the winter was 90 degrees. It worked really good, nice and cozy, and the price of electricity actually went down during the winter months. So you would think that it would be unaffordable, but it really worked well in Texas. I don't know what the heat pumps are like nowadays, but since there is some sort of heating option, it sounds like they didn't quite get that nailed down. So I'm not sure what they do to these things now to make them heat, but that's what I did, and it was quite effective. Let's see, Bert, sheds, yeah, I don't know. It seems to me that every now and then, somehow, an appraisal is done of one's property, and it may even be just by satellites. They see if you built anything on your property, or like maybe installed a generator or something. And I think the tax assessor can use that to determine the value of your property. So one of the disadvantages with putting up a shed on your property is it might take them a few years, but sooner or later the tax man's going to get you. Oh well. And let's see. Yeah, Bert, there's definitely a good security factor with the storage sheds. I've gone to a few storage sheds, not my own, but to friends, and definitely an improved security factor there. And Jessica, yeah, I don't know if every Costco's like this, but the Costco by me here in Covington, just within the past month, or for sure 2 months, now they do have this scanner, and every time you go in the door, they expect you to scan your ID card. In my case, it's a credit card, and it pops up a picture of me. So I don't know. My understanding is they do not want to allow non-members to go to the food court anymore. I'm not sure if that same thing applies to going to the pharmacy or like there's an eye care place in my facility. I would guess that maybe it doesn't, but I'm not sure because it seems I have not visited the food court at Costco, but it seems to me that they do want to scan your ID card when you place your order. I walked by and it looked like you place your order before you go up to the counter, so they need some sort of ID from you to do that. But maybe all Costco's haven't got to that point yet. I don't know, but that's all that I know about that. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, thanks for that. And for an ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll pause in case anyone wants to check in or join us with our net. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. None. Well, let's go to James, WW7N.
Dave, the highly accurate MJF dual band SWR watt meter says I'm putting out 2.5 to 3 watts, depending on how loud I speak. So that's going through a 25-foot cable up to a little 3-element antenna. 2 of them are ground passive and one's active. It's perched on the edge of my deck. So that's what I'm using, and I guess I'm getting through okay. So yeah, I see a thumbs up there, so at least I'm intelligible. I mentioned it is an absolutely superb 1.2 gigahertz picture tonight. Boy, there's just something about this, warm, dry, not hot, not too cold, just right temperature and no wind that our aging cables and antenna on the tower really seem to like. I'm amazed it's all held up so well. Yeah, Costco membership. Yeah, Bob, your source there is absolutely correct. In Issaquah now, you beep your card as you go into the one across the street from the corporate headquarters, and it snaps your picture up. And then also to place an order at the food court, at both the Issaquah and the Redmond, which are the two I go to. They're almost exactly the same distance from my house. You also have to beep your card, or you can't place a food court order, at least not at the automated terminals. I don't know what they do if you walk up, because they still have an option, at least in Issaquah, you can walk up because it's outside. What's really fun, I just tried this to see what would happen. I wore a COVID mask and wanted to know what they would do with that, and they didn't bat an eyelash. And also I wore a COVID mask when they were going through that obnoxious thing where you go through the quickie line, the self-serve quickie line, and they were asking to see your card before they beeped you in. And I also wore a COVID mask, and of course that picture is about this big. And so, you know, you cannot even hardly see the picture, period. So I kind of laughed at the guy. I said, so is that a good picture? Does that look like me? And he laughed back. So, I mean, you know, at least they have a sense of humor about the whole thing. What caused this all to start happening, though, is I got reports on some social media site a friend of mine monitors called Nextdoor, and said people were going into the Costco, whatever, you know, flashing something and getting in, just loading up one of those big orange things and just running out the door with it. And I'd heard that also in Safeway, that they were doing that, and this is why I did see, I walked into, I think it was a Safeway, the other day just to buy something. I needed something, just coffee filters, and that's an odd thing. My two usual places didn't have them. I walked in there and I noticed all the dishwashing detergents all locked up. You have to ask to get one broken out of jail in order to buy it. I don't know what the deal is with laundry detergent. There must be some high resale value of that. The thing you can do in Costco in Washington State is say you're going to the pharmacy, and they would let you in because that's state law. You cannot be denied access to a pharmacy in Washington State. Now, that's different in other states. But a friend of mine who let his Costco membership lapse and then was mad that they wanted like the past years or whatever to pay him, or months or whatever it was, he just said pharmacy, and the guy immediately said, wait right here, sir, and they had someone right there to walk him all the way to the pharmacy and all the way out again. So that sort of works, but I guess you'd have to break loose and, you know, hide in the bathroom or something until he gave up on you if you wanted to order a hot dog. I'm not sure how that would work, but then they'd still get you because you couldn't beep your hot dog. So I don't know. I think Costco's really plugging the holes there, just like Netflix and Zoom. Bob, now you need, for working out, you got to do what I do. When I go to Trader Joe's, I always pick the longest line, and then your little red baskets, you can do curls, do overheads, do squats with the milk, and I do that, and it always gets a laugh by the time I get to the front. The cashier's noticed, and it always gets a good laugh and lightens and brightens their day. Actually, I've got a little sore tendon in the crook of my left arm because I was doing curls with my basket a couple days ago. It's always day 2 that I get sore. So, you know, don't overlook the Trader Joe workout. You can always do that. Close to the top here. Let's see if we can go around one more time. This is James, WW7ATS in Northeast Bellevue. Let's turn it back to our net control. Dave, KD7ZYM.
7N, thanks for that. We get an ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, Costco's interesting. I generally pay cash for my hot dog, but they want you to go through and use a credit card at the checkout place where you order the stuff. And I just don't want to put a hot dog on a credit card, so for the little amount of money it is, you have to wait in line a little bit, but they have one cashier position that you can pay cash for. Also with Costco, besides pharmacy, alcohol beverages and alcohol is open to the public under state law here in Washington State. And I understand with Costco also, if you have hearing difficulties, you can get your ear checked without a membership at Costco. I don't know what they have for vision, but for hearing, they do have that for free for somebody coming in from outside the street. And talking about pulled pork, you know, one of my favorite things was when I smoked pulled pork is inject it with Coca-Cola. Inject it very well. Coca-Cola has a tendency to break down some of the tissue in the pulled pork. And then I cook it at 225 degrees. But I also put a rub on it and then spray it down with a apple cider and apple juice mixture, 50-50, overnight, and then put it in the smoker, then continue to smoke it at 225 for almost 20 hours for a shoulder. And boy, does that come out good, but you have to spray it down a little bit with that apple cider and apple juice mixture. And boy, that makes really great pulled pork. So that's my recipe for that. And I suppose you could put it also, if you don't have a smoker, you could do it in an oven at 225 degrees. You just wouldn't have the smoke flavor. But I imagine I know there's a product called liquid smoke that you can use that's used a lot on salmon fishing. Salmon, if you're roasting it in your oven, you can sprinkle a little of that on it. So I imagine you could probably get a little smoke flavor from that once you pull it. And so that, I'm going to send it back clear up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Noise. Did you turn it over to me, Dave? Okay. QKU here. Wade just joined us. He's at this convention. He was telling me about it. The whole family, I think, went. It's amazing, Dave, that you mentioned you didn't like to put a small amount on your credit card. So you're like my friend Kim. He wants to pay cash for everything. I hardly ever carry cash. I don't like to carry change, and the smallest amount I think I ever put on my credit card was like 25 cents. It doesn't matter to me how small it is. It's just, it's just a line item. You get a receipt. So I went over to the drugstore, and my co-payment was like 25 cents, and I didn't want to give them. I probably had a couple of dollars, but I didn't want to give them $1 because then I have a pocket full of change. I just have to bring it home and stuff it in a cup. That's what I do with it. So I gave them the credit card. They didn't even bat an eye. They put the 25 or 24 cents, whatever it was, on my credit card. So Joanne came in just a minute ago and said that she got a text back from Richard, and he's still sedated. That's all Debbie said. So I guess he's just the same as he was last week. So that's all I know. Let's see, you were talking about computers. So Wade set me up with this little bitty computer. It's about 1.5 inches thick, and it's about as big as a book. And I put my hand on it several times. It's not even warm. It's a Hewlett-Packard. It's called ProDesk. It's got a Intel Core, I think 19 processor in it. But it's itty-bitty, and it handles this Zoom or whatever. It doesn't get warm at all. I guess that's about it. I think we're running out of time. So back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU. Well, let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK for a final.
I can say at Trader Joe's, I love the crinkles. I'll buy a crinkle and have that thing finished off in maybe a day and a half. They are so good. The crinkles, yum, yum, yum. And then I'd like to go into a candy aisle, which is also the frozen food aisle, and go up and down there, and I'll come out with a basket full of candy. And I'll say, I came here because I come for the health food. And they laugh at me because it's mostly candy. It's great stuff. You just can't get anywhere else. So I'm going to pass it back because I see Wade showed up. Maybe you want to talk to him. This is KF7UHK.
HK, well, Wade was here and gone. Well, let's see if Wade's with us. Let's go to Wade in Tacoma, WW7ATS.
WW7ITL.
Response, well, we'll close off the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. We'd like to thank Google for letting us get YouTube streaming for our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association, WW7STR's repeater 147.08, for our voice communications for the net. So with that, I'll close the net. This is Dave, KD7ZYM at 9 o'clock. Good evening, all.